Is that what you're talking
Yeah.
about? Yeah.
By the way, Warren is now losing to Buttigieg in the state where she supposedly would beat him with the amount of black support.
Wow. A little bit shocking to me, but
8.2 to 7.
Warren is interesting. And the reason why I keep on saying that is because, when we look at how she campaigns at political events, she tries to act as if she is some sort of moderate. And then when you look at how she is on the debate stage and really, honestly, almost everywhere else in the sight of millions rather than, a couple people, or maybe 100 or 200 people, or maybe even, 2,000 people in a campaign event, she doesn't talk about many big issues that Bernie Sanders will talk about. For example, since you can only really compare him to Warren, since they both are the only Bernie is the progressive. I don't really know if Warren is really running a very progressive campaign, to be quite frank with you. I think she's running more of a in the middle between progressive and moderate. So she's running more of a liberal campaign, in my opinion.
I really think her campaign at this point has just come into I'm trying to please everyone and ending up pleasing nobody. The shock of all shocks, Chris Christie, I think, had a really good analysis of this, where he was like, you know what, the Warren people don't trust, Bernie's the progressives don't trust Elizabeth Warren, because she's gone bad on Bernie and she's turned back on Medicare for all, and the establishment people don't trust her. Oh yeah, so here this is. This is a clip of Bernie Chris Christie, of all people, on Stephen Colbert, absolutely nailing the Elizabeth Warren dynamic here.
You want to talk about Bernie? Let's do that. Let's do it. The knives were out
on Stephen Colbert.
They were.
And his buddy Fidel Castro.
Healthcare is a human right.
It is.
Yes, thank you.
Did anyone make a dent in Bernie tonight?
No.
Really?
No, really. The beauty...
Wait, right now, are you working for the Russians by pumping up Bernie?
I'm on retainer. But,
okay, good, yeah, sure.
But it's a small one, so I'm not working that hard.
I understand, sure.
Bernie, the great thing about Bernie is that they were basically calling him a Castro-loving commie tonight.
Yes.
And he was like, okay, all right, I am. Now, let's talk about Medicare for all. He doesn't care. He hasn't cared for 30 years.
Why do you think that he has got, while not the majority...
And the people don't care either, that's the thing.
Party right now, he's got the plurality, to use a 20-cent word.
Because he's one of the only people up there who's actually talking about ideas.
Elizabeth Warren talks about ideas.
No, she doesn't.
Yes, she does.
No.
She talks about all the same ideas that Bernie talks about.
No, she used to talk about all the same ideas. Then she backed off of it.
There you
everybody
go.
Doesn't like her because the people who are the real progressives don't think she's genuine anymore, and the people who are the moderates don't trust her. So she's in no man's land.
There you go. That is the exact quote from Chris Christie there. The progressives don't trust her because they don't think she's genuine, and the moderates don't trust her because she's has this whole career of being a progressive person. So she's genuinely in no man's land. It was a really bad look, by the way, for Stephen Colbert bringing up the thing with Russia. He's really obsessed with Russia, which is kind of sad at this point. It's 2020. It's not 2017 anymore. We've all kind of moved on now. But yeah, I really think that's what's happened in the race. He's just turned into this something that really just ends up appealing to very, very few portions of the electorate, where she could have done, I think, a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, Warren could have done a lot better if she actually focused on maybe talking more about her priorities a little bit more than similar things to what Bernie did. I think that would have also helped her as if she didn't. Well, first off, kind of go and say something that probably wasn't really true, that Bernie has supposedly said that a woman couldn't win the presidency. Because I think that was with the last part of her campaign. I mean, I said it, and I think that is really what occurred, because I think that when we look and see how, she was doing in the race, she was actually doing better than Bernie for a good amount of time, according to many polls. And then she really just dropped. Yeah, and then she really just dropped. And then Bernie took that place right in front of her after she was like, oh yeah, Bernie said that a woman couldn't win. And that was really where a lot of the young progressive supporters went from Warren to Bernie, in my opinion, or possibly
a little bit before that, I think.
Maybe. I mean, I don't even know though. But I I would say that what also really shocks me about with Warren is, well, not really necessarily for Warren, but what shocks me about Ayanna Presley is why she's endorsing Warren, and she's like her field
I think it's a home
advisor.
state thing, though.
Yeah, but I mean, the fact of the matter is, I mean, she's like one of the only congresswomen who have endorsed her. I mean, she literally rode off of Bernie's back to get her congressional seat. So I
Yeah,
mean, the
she was a
fact
Justice
that
Democrat and
she
everything.
like used Bernie just to get her congressional seat. Now she's like, no thanks, I'm going to support Warren, who has a dying campaign. And Ayanna's like campaigning a lot for her as well. Like she's like doing a lot of rallies for her. Like honestly, I think Ayanna is acting more candidate like than Warren. I mean, Warren's like all about the selfie and this and that, but Ayanna's like actually talking about like what Warren wanted.
Yeah, I think she
and
definitely
this
has,
and
she has a
that.
lot of political talent, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely without a doubt.
Yeah, so that seems to be a big factor in the race. Like, what will Elizabeth Warren do? All right. So the question I think really now is, will someone challenge? Will someone possibly challenge the Bernie Sanders? Will someone challenge Bernie? Who will it be? Will it be a group of people, or will it be one person? After this, I think it's a question we're probably going to be coming back to time and time again. I'm going to be sitting here maybe Tuesday night and be like, who's going to challenge Bernie now? I don't know. Like, do you think it could be Joe Biden as the one person who's going to be challenging Bernie? Who's going to represent the establishment in this fight?
I could definitely see that without a doubt. I mean, he's doing better than the majority of the field's moderate camp, and you know he is well liked amongst the people in the establishment right now. He's liked by many still out in the field because I mean, look, he really is for many a man who, according to many of his supporters, who consider him a genuine person. And the fact that like you can't really trust Bloomberg, you can't really trust Buttigieg, just because you know he's coming out here and acting like a 6-year-old on national TV, talking while Bernie's talking, not even just interrupting, but just literally talking while Bernie's talking. On top of that, he doesn't really have a good campaign. I mean, his campaign is a dumpster fire. I mean, his Medicare for All who wanted is a voucher program for healthcare where you got to freaking take a similar. It's very similar to taking a loan out, and it is so just not really smart what he has been doing for this race to the point where I'm a little bit confused what he actually is here to do, because he never talks about the environment. He never talks about transportation. I mean, Biden is the only guy up on the stage right now who's really talking about high-speed rail across country. That is something that really matters to many people in this country, and I'd argue that that's something that we got to focus on.
I really don't think so.
Well, you don't think we should focus on
I think we should, but
rail?
I don't think it matters to people across the country. I think it'd be a very
I
smart
think
thing
it
to
does.
do. But
I think
like
it
people,
does.
like when
care
people
about
go
the environment,
when people go to the polls, though, they're not thinking of high speed rail.
No, they're not looking at high-speed rail. But I'm talking more about the environmental stuff right now. And then also, well, if you want to talk more about what people are looking at, they're looking more at healthcare, immigration, and
healthcare. I think healthcare and climate change the economy, probably the top 3 big issues that are going to end up deciding this election.
Yeah, I mean, healthcare
And
wise,
high speed rail,
argue,
I think definitely could be a part of it. I know they have a good one in Florida, like the sun. What's it called? The Bright Line. Yeah, Bright Line.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
I'm confusing it with the Sun Pass, which is like the Easy Pass for people from the East Coast, like New Yorkers would know the Easy Pass. Like pretty much the thing that gets you past the tolls. I'm sure they have like one in each region of the country. But it's very, very interesting to see how this is going to end up playing out. I think what's the biggest thing? I think it's to stop Sanders moderates. Like they have something to cheer. But I think the big question is, will this help Biden on Super Tuesday? Will this help him? Will it push him over the line? Will this help him? And I think that there's kind of 2 questions off of that can be asked. Will it hurt Bernie Sanders or will it hurt Michael Bloomberg more? Like, whose momentum will it edge?
I think this will edge Biden. I think it will show people for Super Tuesday that Biden actually has support of people rather than just being the guy in the race who's not really doing so well. I think that this will hurt Bloomberg because Bloomberg is running on the fact that he can win. And Biden had just showed tonight that, well, look, I actually do have support, unlike what people kept on saying, that I had no support.
And Bloomberg's cut into his black support a fair bit as well.
Yeah, I mean, he has, but the fact of the matter is Bloomberg really is not – I wouldn't say Bloomberg is really going to be too much of too big of a candidate to be – not necessarily worried about, because you should be worried about him if you're Biden.
Yeah, I mean,
but I don't really see that he's going to be gaining momentum after what happened tonight here. And I don't really see that Bloomberg is going to be able to necessarily say, well, this guy just won South Carolina by a major landslide. I'm really good, by the way. I could win really well against almost anyone. I think that's going to be hard for him to do. And I think that for Bloomberg, I think the only way that he can actually continue his campaign of saying, look, I'm the guy who can win, is if he shows us that he can actually win well. And I don't really see that can actually happen this Tuesday for Super Tuesday. I don't see that could actually happen.
That you don't think he's going to be able to get a foothold anywhere on Super Tuesday?
I don't think that he's going to be a eye-opener in many states. No, I don't. I think he's going to be performing similar to how Buttigieg or Warren had done tonight. I think that's, to be quite honest.
He'll be similar to how so he'll pretty much be doing
like
badly in every state.
Yeah. He'll be doing how Warren did tonight, 7% in most states probably.
I was kind of thinking about back to that campaign, the Elizabeth Warren campaign, and their big goal is blunting Bernie Sanders' momentum. I think the funny thing is they're not going to have a shot at it. I really don't think they're going to have a shot at it. I think Bernie, at the end of this week, I think Buttigieg. I think there's a very, very good chance that Elizabeth Warren and Pete Buttigieg are out. Do you think that's crazy?
Elizabeth Warren and Pete Buttigieg. I could see Warren. Buttigieg, you know what, though? I could see him out, actually, when I think about it. Because when I think about what could happen with Buttigieg, I could see him really just doing really bad in majority white states like Arkansas and many other states and saying, look, I don't really see how I got a shot here. But I also think that he may stay in for a little bit longer to see how he does. But I think Super Tuesday definitely will be a landslide, a waterfall for many people leaving this race. I think we're going to see a good amount of people leave, possibly. I think that Klobuchar might as well drop out.
Yeah, I forgot about Klobuchar. Yeah, she'll probably be dropping out as well. Because I don't see where if you can't win Massachusetts, if you're Elizabeth Warren, especially if you can't win Minnesota, if you're Amy Klobuchar, why are you in this race? Come on.
No, what's her name? Klobuchar is actually up right now in her home state of Minnesota, which is quite good for her.
Yeah, but I mean, it's close. It's definitely closer than it should be. And if she wasn't in the race, by the way, Bernie Sanders would win Minnesota easily.
Really, I don't know about that though.
Yeah, because he won by a lot last time. And remember, this is a state with Ilhan Omar, big Muslim population. Dearborn and all that stuff. So yeah, and they're pretty left wing in that. So all right, James, you know what? I think that's all we have for you today. South Carolina, a lot of fun. We'll see if we can fit in another possible episode of Newsflash for you, or official one this Sunday. But if not, I think giving you a good share of content from the episode we did earlier. We'll also get you an Uncultured episode a little bit later on. So stick around for that. This has been Newsflash covering the South Carolina primary and the Democratic primary race as a whole. My thanks to James Stanley. That's all we got for tonight. See you. By the way, join us on Super Tuesday for a big, big, important night and show.